Longbox Review, Episode 12. Hi, this is Eric from Longbox Review at longboxreview.wordpress.com. Today I'm going to look at the October previews catalog. Usually I take a look at these and post them to the blog, but I decided to do this on the podcast and see how it goes. So let's get right to it. First off, we'll start with Dark Horse. There's a new comic called The Strain from Guillermo del Toro and Chuck Hogan. Something about vampire novels to comics. If you like Guillermo, gosh, that's a hard word for me to say for some reason. Del Toro, and this Chuck Hogan person whom I'm not familiar with. It's an interesting cover though, with the vampires here. They kind of remind me of the creatures from that Will Smith movie. Oh gosh, what is that? You know what I'm talking about. Anyway, the first issue says of 11 is only $1 to try it out. I'm not interested in this, but maybe some people will be. Next is Angel and Faith number 5. I'm getting this right now. It's got Harmony is back. I don't know about how I feel about that. I think Harmony was a very overused character in the Buffy season 8 comic, and here she is back in the Angel series. So we'll see how it goes. Anyway, I'm liking. I've read issue up to issue 2 now. I'm liking it so far, but we'll see how it goes. And of course, next to Angel and Faith, number 5, we have Buffy the Vampire Slayer season 9, number 4. It says it's a first arc finale. I don't know what's the deal with 4 issues being an arc. I don't know. There's nothing wrong with that, of course. I guess I like longer form stories, but I understand the necessity of having shorter runs, I guess. And it's something that happens all the time in the Buffy series for season 8 anyway. I should be used to it, in other words. Anyway, I've enjoyed the first issue. I don't know that I've read the second one yet. I don't know if that's been out yet. Also interesting looking, this cover for House of Night number 2. I decided not to get House of Night number 1 because I just was ordering way too many comics last month, but I'm kind of regretting that now. Because this is a nice cover by Jenny Frieson. That looks just on the cover alone, it makes me want to buy this comic. So good job there. And speaking of interesting covers, I guess there's the cover to Orchid number 3. Here on page 35, it says the hit of Comic-Con 2011. I don't remember anything coming out of Comic-Con regarding this, but that was a while ago. But anyway, the cover has looks like this guy or creature. I don't know this title at all, but he's wearing this. Looks like a cloth mask, but it's got this red star kind of sewn into it. It reminds me of Starro the Conqueror. So that in itself it just looks like an interesting image to me. I'm not going to be buying that. I have no interest in the story, but I just thought the cover image was kind of cool. Then there's a bunch of Star Wars stuff, which I do have no interest in reading whatsoever. And then we get to, let's see, Empowered, the Deluxe Edition, Volume 1 hardcover for $60 on sale in February. Wow. I've noticed this title over the however long it's been out. I want to say years, but it must be because there's the hardcover has 712 pages. So anyway, I remember when this title was first solicited and it looked like a somewhat interesting read, but I never got into it. But I guess if you want to try that out, here it is. I guess that's it for Dark Horse. There's not too much I get from that company, although I really like it in general. I went to the Spokane Comic-Con this year, and And I got to hear Scott Alley, one of the editors at Dark Horse, talk, and he seemed like a really cool guy, and he was really into the company and the comics they produce, and it made me really want to buy more stuff. But anyway, next up, my favorite company, I'll put it right out there, is DC Comics. And I think it's kind of cool. The first 2 pages feature Aquaman prominently in the cover images. This is for Justice League number 4 and Aquaman number 4. And with the Brightest Day series, where Jeff Johns just made Aquaman just really cool to me. It's kind of cool to see him here featured as prominently. I'm hoping that his appearance in Justice League continues that trend. We'll see how it goes. Usually, though, in the DC solicitations and previews, I flipped through the pages just to take a look at the cover images, see if there's anything interesting that I should be maybe getting that I'm not. But I tend not to read the solicitations because I don't want anything spoiled for me. However, this is month number 4 being solicited of the new 52, and I typically, for the stuff I order online so that I can afford to buy more comics, even with the discount I get at my comic book shop, that's just not enough of a discount to be able to read as many of the new 52 that I wanted to. So I ordered some stuff online to help with that. But that meant that I had ordered up to issue number 3 on all those titles before I even actually read anything. So here is to me, it's the go no go point. So I decided to go ahead and read the solicitations so I could decide on some of those titles that are on the fence, such as the Firestorm, the Nuclear Men, the Savage Hawkman, which is issue number 4 is the conclusion to the first arc. Again, a 4-issue arc. I don't know what they're doing with that. I was not very impressed. If you listen to one of the new 52 from DC episodes that me and Travis did, I was not very impressed with the Savage Hawkman number 1, but since I've already ordered 3 and number 4 is the conclusion, I'll probably get that just to have the whole arc. So really that's what I'm looking for in these solicitations, to decide for the ones that are kind of iffy for me, if I should go ahead and get the 4th issue, and really beyond that. Oh, here's a good one. Batman Incorporated Leviathan Strikes, a one-shot special, 80 pages, $6.99 for that. So I guess this is the kind of like the cap on the whole Batman Incorporated series that they ended before the 52 started. I know Batman Incorporated is coming back, but it was kind of the whole plot line was left dangling a little bit. So I think this is Grant Morrison's way of ending it to a certain degree, so that at least we readers feel perhaps a little more satisfied with what's going on. I find interesting the cover image has Batman on it, of course, but it's got the logo that he had before the new 52 started. So I'm kind of wondering about that. I would think that they would want to keep things consistent in the various titles, but then again, maybe this cover image may have been produced before the 52 got started, so maybe we'll see something different along the way when it's published. And speaking of Batman, that's a really interesting cover to Batman and Robin number 4, with Damian Robin pulling apart. It looks like he's coming out of Batman's face. Only or I guess more appropriately, it's the cowl, Batman's cowl. He's screaming like he's trying to get out. Although it kind of evokes like this weird birth metaphor. I don't know. I don't even want to go there. But it's an interesting looking cover anyway. And I am getting this title after reading number 1. I decided that I'm going to continue with that title, so this is a no-brainer buy for me. So we'll see how it goes. Speaking of interesting covers, we got Birds of Prey number 4, that features Batgirl prominently in the center there. So I wasn't so sure of this title, but with Batgirl on there, I could be persuaded to buy this issue and see if I want to continue with the series. And speaking of Batgirl, that's yet again another cool cover image for Batgirl number 4 by Adam Hughes. Of course, I mean it's Adam Hughes, so I really like his cover work. His use of areas of color. I don't know. I'm not an artist, so these terms I don't know the specific terms. But I like his use of contrasting elements, I guess is a better way to put it, of his covers. So looks pretty cool. I can't wait to read that. And next to it is Red Hood and the Outlaws number 4. When did the Gremlin boy, it's been so long. I can't remember. I couldn't remember the Will Smith movie, and now I can't remember what the name of the Gremlin from the Gremlins movie was. When did he get all big and show up in a DC comic? Because that's what it looks like to me. This is another one. Because this issue features Starfire with this gremlin-looking alien, I might be persuaded to buy that one as well. Oh, and then we get Nightwing number 4 on the next page, and we've got looks like 2 Nightwings there battling each other, and then Batgirl's in the background. I can't wait for that one. That'll be interesting to see. Hopefully, anyway. There's another good-looking cover for Justice League. Justice League Dark number 4. God, I hate that title name. But anyway, so the cover's by Ryan Sook, and just the picture of the woman that Deadman's holding, just done very well. It looks almost maybe there's a photo reference stuff going on, but it just looks really cool. Oh, and I just noticed Thunder Agents number 2. This is on page 103. I am getting this mini-series, the 6-issue series. I just noticed that the cover was by Fraser Irving, and man, I love his stuff. So I'm glad I'm getting this now. It's too bad he's not doing the interior art. It's done by Wes Craig and Jerry Ordway. I'm not such a big fan of Ordway's work any longer. I used to like his stuff, but not so much anymore. I'm not familiar with Wes Craig, so we'll see how it goes. I'm not picking this up, but some people may be interested in this. This is the 4-issue series, The Ray, written by Justin Gray and Jimmy Palmiotti, art by Jamal Igle and Rich Perrotta, cover by Jamal Igle. I mean, with the people attached, it should be pretty good, but I don't know. I just read the Ray miniseries from the '90s, and man, that's a title that I've always wanted to read it for some reason. I remember the original series being on the comic shelves, and I never picked it up. But man, those covers look cool, and I was looking for something new to read, but for some reason I didn't pick it up. Maybe I just couldn't afford it or whatever, or I couldn't find issue number 1. I don't remember any longer, but I didn't pick it up, but I finally found the entire series not too long ago, and I just read it in the last month, and wow, that was kind of a stinker. So I'm glad I didn't pay full price for it then. It's just a big disappointment. So anyway, we get this new reincarnation of the Ray. I guess I'm just soured on that character, and that's not really fair, is it? I mean, that was something done a long time ago, and I'm prejudging this one based on this old series. But I only have so much money and so many dollars to spend on comics, and this just doesn't look that interesting to me. So this may be the first month that I do not get a DC Comics Presents selection, although the Batman The Secret City, just based on the cover alone with Batgirl in it, is somewhat enticing to me. We also have the Batman Return of Bruce Wayne trade. I just picked those up very cheaply, so I won't be getting the trade, although I was planning on it until I found all those issues really cheap. So I think my local comic shop, the second location where it was selling variant edition extra copies that they had for $1 a piece, so I picked up most of the Return of Bruce Wayne copies there, so I don't have to read the trade now. But if you wanted to, all in one sitting in a nice collected edition, there you go. Speaking of a good collected edition, we have the DC Universe by Alan Moore hardcover, featuring stuff that pretty much all comic readers have read, like The Killing Joke, bunch of other stuff, but there's a lot of stuff in here that I've never read. So, wow. Ooh, including Voodoo number 1 through 4. Alan Moore wrote Voodoo? Had no idea. So, I might be enticed to get that when it comes out in trade, because hardcover, I don't think so. $40 for that? Nah, even at a discount, I don't think it's worth that much. However, I might pick this trade up. It's $30. Seven Soldiers of Victory Volume 1 trade. I actually read the Seven Soldiers of Victory series. I borrowed them from Travis a long time ago. He let me read his copies. But here we get again. Looks like the entire. Well, I'm sorry. It says Volume 1, but we have said it contains Seven Soldiers of Victory 0, The Guardian 1 through 4, Clarion 1 through 3, Zatanna 1 through 3, and The Shining Knight 1 through 3. I suppose I should go check on the web if that's the entire run of it or not, but I'm too lazy, so there you go. You can get that. I may get that myself just because I enjoyed it so much, even though I've already read it. And now in the DC Kids line, I've been picking up issues of Tiny Titans here and there. Last month I pre-ordered Batman the Brave and the Bold because it featured all of the various Robins in it. This month, the all-new Batman Brave and the Bold number 14, this is on page 126, features, and I can't believe this, it's got Ragman in it. So I have to get that. I'm a huge Ragman fan. And also there's the Young Justice Volume 1 trade. So I might get that too because I really love that animated series, and I'm kind of mad at myself for not picking up the monthly series based on that. Oh, here's a good one. This is a series that many people have been clamoring for a very long time. I remember being at Emerald City Comic-Con last couple of years, and I think every year I heard someone ask whoever the DC reps that were there ask about this getting this collection out in a trade format. This is Flex Mentallo, Man of Muscle Mystery, Deluxe Edition hardcover. This is for it's 112 pages, only $22.99. That's a really kind of an odd price for something. Why wouldn't they just do $24.99 or something? Anyway, there you go. You can get that. I will be picking that up when it comes out in trade form. And that concludes DC. On to IDW. IDW is a company I don't really buy a whole lot from. I don't care for licensed property stuff, even though I buy Angel and Buffy from Dark Horse. I am getting the Star Trek ongoing from IDW. However, this is really enticing. John Romita's The Amazing Spider-Man Artist's Edition. This just looks gorgeous. This is, I don't know if you're familiar with IDW's Artist Edition stuff. They take the original art. So it says here, Artist Editions are printed the same size as the original art. I just can't imagine what this really looks like. I really like to take a look at one of these somewhere. But just the John Romita Spider-Man art is just lovely. I always love John Romita's work on Spider-Man. I don't care too much for John Romita Jr.'s work in general, but John Romita is some really classic, really cool stuff. So, man, that's really tempting. There's not a price on here that I see. It says, please inquire. Wow, I really need to find out how much that is before I make a decision. But I'm really tempted. Here we go. Magic the Gathering number 1. I have no interest in that. I just think it's funny that they're doing a comic based on a card game that is just hugely popular. I mean, it makes sense, obviously, but no thank you. I mentioned Star Trek earlier. The new Star Trek ongoing number 4 is out. This is the reimagines the classic episode Galileo 7. So we'll see how that goes. And then on the same page, this is 154. We have, they're calling it Star Trek Classics. This features the Next Generation cast, the Gorn Crisis. Now, I never read any of the IDW Star Trek stuff until now, but given that it's written by Kevin J. Anderson, along with Rebecca Mosta, I know Kevin Anderson's work. He's okay. in general. So, it can't be that bad. But man, the art, it says here, the art and cover is by Igor Kordy. And wow, if the interior is as good as this cover, I may have to get this. It looks really, really nice. And we have the Star Trek Legion of Superheroes crossover continuing with number 3. I haven't read the first issue yet, but man, I can't wait to see that. Continuing along with IDW's licensed property angle, we have Angel After the Fall Volume 4. I've read the first 2 volumes and am interested enough to get Volume 3, although I haven't got that yet, so we'll see. I don't know if this is... I assume this is Volume 4 is the first time it's listed. I don't know. I haven't seen it before, but... So yeah, I might be trying to find Volume 3 so I can get Volume 4. Also on the same page, 166 is John Sable Freelance Omnibus Volume 2. If you've not looked at the John Sable freelance stuff from Mike Grell, I have a few issues back when it was originally published, and it's some interesting stuff. I really like Grell's artwork, and this was an interesting character at that time. On to Image, where they have what Previews is calling a Gem of the Month, Madman 20th Anniversary Monster Hardcover. Madman is one of those things that I think most people who read comics for any length of time, they know of it. I know that it obviously there's a lot of fan base for this, otherwise they wouldn't be publishing this. But I've never read anything with Madman in it, except for a few things, little pieces I've seen over the years, but I've never read a whole comic or a collection or anything. So I'm interested a little bit just because it's a piece of comic history. But here we go. This is a 264 oversized hardcover for $100. So I'm thinking, no, that's just too much money right now. On 178, we have a one-shot, a Jingle Bell Gift Wrapped is a subtitle. One shot by Paul Dini and art and cover by Stephanie Gladden. This is a character of Paul Dini's. Apparently, is I guess well known in certain circles. I didn't really realize that this Jingle Bell character was a huge thing until within the last year anyway. I haven't been all that impressed with Paul Dini's comic work. But I don't. For some reason, this Jingle Bell thing, I'm interested for some reason. I'm not sure why. It might be just because it's Christmas themed. Image is also putting out the Art of Carbon Gray hardcover with art by, and I'm going to murder this name, so I apologize in advance. Huang Nguyen, Carrie Evans, and Kim Sun Lo. I hope that's right. All I know is that I've seen the covers for the Carbon Gray series. There's 2 of them, and man, it looks great. I don't know that I want to buy this particular hardcover featuring the art. I definitely want to get the Carbon Gray series when it comes out in trade, for sure, just because of the cover art. Here's another collection, the Red Wing trade paperback by Jonathan Hickman and Nick Pitara. Man, this when the first issue was coming out, they really hyped this. I really like Hickman's work on Fantastic Four and FF. I've not read, I don't think, anything else by him that I can recall right now. I do have his nightly news trade sitting in my read pile. And of course S.H.I.E.L.D. What am I thinking? Anyway, so I might pick this up eventually just because I really like Hickman's work. And on page 194, here's something that just, again, it's a cover image. It interests me to some degree, but this is Gladstone School for World Conquerors number 8. Number 8. I don't. For some reason, I must have missed this in the last several previews that I've looked at. But yeah, the cover looks kind of cool. It's kind of a little kiddish, cartoony-ish, but it looks interesting. I have no idea what this is, other than what the solicitation reads. But yeah, I thought it was kind of neat looking. But I won't buy it. I'll have to wait for a trade to take a look at this series. And every time I get to this page where the Magdalena series is featured, man, Image, as if you listen to this podcast. But if you do, if anybody at Image listens to this, please put out a trade of Magdalena issues because I would really like to read this. I can't seem to find, they're soliciting issue 12, but I can't find anything before issue 6 at my comic shop. Um, I'd really like to read this. I did get a number one issue. It was offered really cheap through uh, DCB service, so I got that, and I liked what I read. And everything I hear is it's an interesting series, and I really wish I had picked this up back when number one was first solicited. Um, I've learned my lesson. When I see those kinds of things, I do pick them up, even though I might be pushing my budget a little too much out there. Mudman number 2 by Paul Grist. I think I pre-ordered number 1 just because the solicitation made it seem kind of, here's a new superhero. It looks kind of neat. What can a guy who apparently turns into mud or controls mud? I have no idea what he does with it, but I don't know. There's something about that appeals to me. Also on that same page, 201, you have Morning Glory 16. I've read the first 2 trades of this series. This is by Nick Spencer, story by Nick Spencer, and man, it's a really interesting. I won't say it's spectacular, but it's very intriguing, and I want to see where Nick Spencer is going with this. I tweeted not too long ago that the overall story reminds me of Lost quite a bit. We'll see how it goes. But again, that's another series I wish I had picked up from the beginning. I couldn't find all the issues, so I waited for the trade, and now I got the first 2. Can't wait for the next one to come out. All right, on to Marvel. Um, Again, here is the success of a potential success of a cover image that makes me want to buy the book. And here we have Fear Itself, the Fearless number 4. I believe that's 4. We got they're soliciting number 4 and number 5, and we got 2 images here. So if this is indeed, it says not final cover. There you go. But what it has is Valkyrie on the cover, holding looks like a big I don't know. I can't really tell if it's an axe or some sort of mace of some sort. But anyway, that looks really cool. It says it's done by Arthur Adams. Well, the cover will be by Arthur Adams. I'm not sure that this cover is by Arthur Adams. Kind of looks like his style. Anyway, Valkyrie just looks really cool. Valkyrie has always been one of those characters in Marvel that, for some reason, I just like her. I like the character. I'm not really sure why. Just something about her intrigues me. But the big news in Marvel for this solicitation or for this previews is Defenders number 1. I've always liked the Defenders concept. I read some of the original issues way back when. I missed out. I know there's been several incarnations of the Defenders over the years, but which I have not read. But this one, boy, I'm getting this number 1 for sure. You've got Matt Fraction writing it, Terry Dodson doing the pencils and cover. This looks really, really cool. It looks really nice. I am a little concerned though, because you've got 2 characters in the Defenders that are currently in the new Avengers title, and I really like them in that, especially Doctor Strange. So you got Doctor Strange and Iron Fist in this. So I'm not sure what's going to happen there. I'd be really sad to see them, especially Doctor Strange, depart from the new Avengers, but they'll be in the Defenders, so I can read them there. And it's written by Matt Fraction, and boy, Matt Fraction has really impressed the hell out of me with his writing in the Fear Itself series. Sometimes I'm a little critical of the series, but I think a lot of that has to do with hitting certain plot points that they have to hit within the 7 issues and trying to get everything moving towards whatever editorial wants the Marvel Universe to move towards. But I've really enjoyed it, and I've also liked his work on the Mighty Thor comic. I got the first 6 issues. I'm not going to continue with it, but I was really impressed with what he did there. And some of the interior art, boy, on this by Terry Dodson, wow, looks really nice. I can't wait to see this. Invincible Iron Man number 511. This is on page 11 of the Marvel's previews. I only mention it because it's got the Mandarin on the cover, and I've always liked that villain. Just the idea of him having these various rings that he can do various things with. I just like that concept. It's probably why I like Green Lantern so much. There's a good cover for New Avengers number 19 with Spider-Man looking like he's beat down and tore up, and you got these villains with Norman Osborn beside them standing over him. It'll be interesting to read that. I was actually when they first solicited that the Dark Avengers were coming back, I almost dropped the title, but I decided to stick with it to see what Bendis is going to do with my favorite Avengers team. Oh, and here we go. Page 23. I have no interest in this comic, but man, I love this. I love this image here. If indeed this is the cover, this is just a really cool looking cover. You got this is this is for the Dark Tower, the Gunslinger, the Way Station number 1 of 5. Why do they have to have 3 titles for a comic? That really bugs the crap out of me. Well, I guess Dark Tower, the Gunslinger is the title, and the Way Station is the name of the limited series. Whatever, it just really bugs me. This is plot by Robin Firth, written by Peter David. Wow, I just noticed that. Wow, that's somewhat enticing. But anyway, the cover image shows the gunslinger, I presume, in the foreground. He's walking. It looks like it's really either really this dark fog, but I doubt it. It looks more like smoke or it's dust, there's this setting sun that's right behind him, and so you got this really dark area at the bottom of the image, and as it goes up the page, you got these reds and oranges and yellows. It just looks really cool to me. I just like the image. Getting to the Ultimates line, man, I don't read the Ultimate stuff. I did buy the Ultimate Comics Spider-Man number 1. This is the solicitation for number 5 and 6. But man, the covers they've been showing in the previews just look really cool. I don't know how they're doing it. See, its cover is by, looks like Carrie Andrews. Just looks, I don't know, just it almost looks computer generated. So I'm not sure how Carrie Andrews is doing the work, but it just looks really cool. And then next to that is Ultimate Comics, The Ultimates. Wow, that's just a dumb title, isn't it? Number 5. Again, Carrie Andrews doing the cover, and it looks like, is this the Ultimate Comics version of Spider-Woman? Man, that just looks really cool, and I'm really tempted to maybe buy that, but I probably won't. It's number 5. I don't have the others, so. And again, the cover art is doing its job, because here I see Annihilator's Earthfall number 4 of 5 issues, covered by John. Oh, no wonder I'm so. No wonder I want to buy this. John Tyler Christopher is the artist. I met him at Emerald City last year, or I guess the last time I should say, and I bought some prints from him because his work is just looks so gorgeous. And here he is doing the cover art for this. I may have to pick this up in trade because I'm interested, because like I said, the cover image is doing its job, because you got Nova here in the center of this. You got a bunch of other characters around it, but that image of Nova just looks really awesome. By John Tyler Christopher. Wow, good stuff. Daredevil here. Daredevil number 7. Again, the cover image shows him looks like he's on a water tower in New York, and it's snowing, and he's making a snow angel. That just looks pretty cool. On page 51, there's a new limited series, Villains for Hire, number 1 of 5. I'm a sucker for villain-centric stories, so I might have to take a look at that and see if I really want to buy that. It's got the Purple Man in it, Avalanche, Shocker, an all-new Scourge, Tiger Shark, Speed Demon. Yeah, I don't know what else this is about. It's by Dan Abnett and Andy Lanning. They're pretty darn good. Yeah, writing some good comic stories. So, I have to really think about that one. We'll see what the bill is after my normal stuff. I don't buy this, but Wolverine number 20. Features the image of Wolverine being strangled by the Kingpin. He's got his claws out. He's about ready to attack, it looks like, but that'd be interesting to see Wolverine against the Kingpin. I mean, nothing could really come of it, right? Because you can't kill the Kingpin. He's one of the most successful villains they've ever made. So, but just that image, that idea of the two clashing, that is interesting. And then on page 76, again, this is one of those things where it's like, where did this come from? I somehow missed this in previous previews. Dream Logic, this is number 5, written by Brian Michael Bendis, pencils and cover by Michael Avon Emming. However, this is a. Oh, did I say? Yeah, Dream Logic. Okay. This is the 48-page art book featuring new story and art by David Mack and a bunch of other stuff. So it's, I guess, I'm not sure what this is. It says pencils and cover by Michael Avon Emming, but it features stuff by David Mack. I have no idea what this is. But man, the cover image sure looks interesting. So maybe someone could let me know if they know what this is all about. And let's see. A couple pages later, we have the trade collection of Criminal, Volume 6, The Last of the Innocent. I just finished this last month, I believe, was the last issue. That was a really interesting story. I like what Sean Phillips did with the art. Between the two, he had sort of this Archie-esque, more innocent style of art to depict a certain, or to depict the past of these characters, and then he did his usual criminal style art. So I really like the juxtaposition of those two styles in it. And for all you fanboys out there, here's the Fear Itself premiere hardcover, 240 pages for $34.99. Features issues 1 through 7 and Fear Itself Book of the Skull, whatever that is. I didn't read that. I am reading the main series 1 through 7. I haven't read number 7 yet. I certainly don't need to buy this in trade. It wasn't that good, but hey, if you like that kind of stuff. Speaking of liking that kind of stuff, here is 2 trades of the Secret Wars saga, Secret Wars and Secret Wars 2, if you wanted to have those in a collected edition. God knows why. But here's a nice gem. X-Men Days of Future Past trade. It's a new printing. I may have to pick that up. I read the original issues way back when. I think I read my buddy Greg's copies. Enjoyed the story. It's often referred to. It's often talked about among us comic fans as one of the seminal stories of the X-Men. So yeah, that I may have to get that one for sure. Well, that didn't make any sense, did it? I may have to get that one for sure. I may have to get that one. Let's just leave it at that. And that's the end of Marvel. On to something else. And that being all the other publishers. Let's see. First up, I See This by Abstract Studios. Rachel Rising #1 is a second printing. I missed out on this. This is by Terry Morris's new series. Well, I may have to get that and maybe even try and pick up the other issues. I really hope they resolicit those. I don't care if it's a second printing. I really like Terry Moore's work. I really enjoyed Strangers in Paradise. So, yeah. And also Echo, I read the first trade of that. I'm going to buy the collected edition and read the whole story. So yeah, that might be a good investment there. And then on the next page, this is page 217, back to the regular previous catalog. The DC Chess Collection. Oh my God, I really want this. We got Commissioner Gordon, Two-Face, the Joker, Damian Robin, and Batman. This just looks cool. They're $16 a piece. So yeah, it's really tempting, but and I don't really play chess anymore. I used to, but oh man, the fanboy and collector in me really wants these. Oh, and you get an exclusive collector's magazine along with it. Like I care. But yeah, these look really nice. If you have a chance to take a look at the images, they look pretty cool. Speaking of Terry Moore, on page 218, and they show it again on a bigger size on 219. It's called Hot Girls, Cold Feet, the Terry Moore 2011 Sketchbook. 64 pages of beautiful women from the pen of Terry Moore. And it's only $10.99. This guy just is an incredible artist. I know you got the cheesecake factor here, especially with this cover image, but I just really like his art, regardless of whether he's drawing men or women. I mean, yeah, the women are nice, but the art is just really cool and done very well. So, man, that's for $10.99. That I may have to get that one. From Antarctic Press, the only thing. Well, no, I won't say that. There are two things in here. Victorian Secret Girls of Steampunk Winter Wardrobe. I just like the cover, the image, the steampunk image here. That's all. And then, but really, what really drew me here was the Evil Spock T-shirt, done in the. Do you remember when they had that artist did that Obama image with the different colors? It's done very similarly here with the alternate universe Spock featured in the image, and it's got evil underneath it. So I like that idea. So. Ooh, just in time for the holidays, and it even says this essentially in the solicitation text from Archaea. You have the Mouse Guard Volume 1, 2, the Legends of the Guard Volume 1, and I've not read any of the Mouse Guard stuff, but I hear from many people how good it is, so I may have to pick up that first volume just to see. I mean, the cover image just looks really cool. So yeah, there's that. Ooh, and here we go. As it says, the hot new series from Aston Comics continues. Lady Mechanica #4 is being solicited, which is kind of a problem for me because I don't recall ever seeing #3 being solicited since I saw #2 being solicited. So I may have missed it. I'm sure I did, but man, I can't wait for that to come out. I want to get #3. Obviously, I got the #0 and #1 collected edition, and I bought #2 off the shelf at the comic shop. I can't wait to get these. I've really enjoyed the first 2 comics I bought. Although I see now that the solicitation for #4, it's being called a limited series, and I don't know why I thought it was an ongoing, but here it is in black and white, limited series. Although it doesn't say how many issues it's supposed to be. It'd be nice to know that, but I'll be getting that for sure. From Blue Water Productions, this is page 245. They continue their Fame series. I just saw this too. I was looking at one and I looked at the other and I see Betty White is one of them. That's the one I just saw, but they have Britney Spears, and it's called the Graphic Novel Edition. And the cover image barely looks like her, and oh my god, the anatomy is just way wrong. But anyway, my daughter was a huge, it's a little secret, is a huge Britney Spears fan. So I may have to buy that for her, just as a joke. I have no interest in those comics, but man, it's really fun to see who they're going to do next. And just when I think I'm out, they pull me back in. We've got Boom Studios doing an Irredeemable and Incorruptible crossover with issue 32 and 25 respectively. I got both of those series when they first came out. After about 25 issues of Irredeemable, I dropped it because I just didn't see... It wasn't interesting me any longer, as it had at the beginning. Incorruptible, I think I got, I don't know, maybe a half dozen or just a few more issues of that before I dropped it. Really cool premises. Really cool premise for each one of those titles. It just went on too long. But I'm really interested to see what this crossover will be. I mean, it's going to be a lot of fight scenes, I'm sure, but I'm still interested to see. It's a 4-part series between the two, so I'll get those. From Dynamite Entertainment, this is on page 265. They're really promoting the hell out of this new series called Lord of the Jungle. Written by Arvid Nelson, art by Roberto Castro, covers by Alex Ross, and some other folks. The first issue, 32 pages, $1. Wow, for that price, I might just go ahead and get that. Although I have no interest in jungle stuff. Let's see, it says here, for the first time in its 100-year history, the classic Edgar Rice Burroughs story Tarzan of the Apes is told in all caps, uncensored, whatever that means in a comic. Yeah, I might try that for $1. 32 pages? Yeah, that's not too bad. Also from Dynamite Entertainment, The Art of Howard Chaykin. Hardcover, 200 plus pages, $29.99. If you like Howard Chaykin, and who of us do not, you might want to pick this up. Oh, with a foreword by Brian Michael Bendis and an afterword by Walter Simonson. And Previews calls it certified cool. I guess we'll see. Not sure about this one. This is from 1821 Comics and Stan Lee's POW Entertainment. Romeo and Juliet, The War. Stan Lee's one of those creators that I think is long past his prime, and he's just milking his fame for all it's worth. But this is well, I'll just read the solicitation text from Stan Lee here. Quote, "This is the graphic novel I've always dreamed of doing. Take one of the world's greatest stories, known and loved throughout the globe, place it against the background of a future age, a more violent, science-gone-mad age, embellish it with the most powerful, dazzling illustrations ever seen, and produce it in the largest, most impressive format of all. Romeo and Juliet, The War. It's the crowning achievement in this, the age of the graphic novel." Wow. I know Stan is well known for his hyperbole, but crowning achievement? Come on. Although I have to admit, the art looks pretty cool, and it's based on Shakespeare play, so man, the English major in me is really tempted to get this. But God, I cannot stand that Stan Lee guy. I know that's probably sacrilege to a lot of people out there, but I just can't stand him. I hate that he's in all the Marvel movies, or most of them. Yeah, anyway, there it is. So from that unpleasantness, we have here, not sure who this is from. Oh, the Hero Initiative is publishing Justice League of America 100 Project softcover. Let's see, what is this? This is the Hero Initiative's 100 plus covers to DC Comics Justice League of America number 50, with art from Mark Bagley, Alan Davis, Jose Luis Garcia Lopez. I love his work. George Perez, Frank Quitely, John Romita Sr., Alex Ross, and more. See all the covers along with special behind-the-scenes sections showing development art and more. 120 pages for $12.99. I seem to be pointing out a lot of these, basically art collection books, but I never buy them. But I don't know, featuring a book with a lot of really cool artists that I like, featuring the Justice League, but it's the same. I don't know, it's the same cover. It's number 50, but I'm sure they did different images. This one, not like 100 covers by different artists, but it's the same composition, right? Anyway, maybe I'll have to check it out just to find out. And here on page 310 from Oni Press, the Spontaneous series in hardcover edition, 144 pages, $24.99. I cannot wait for this to come out in trade because I really want to read this. This is again another example of a comic where it's like I read the solicitation for issue number 1, and I was intrigued by it but didn't get it. And man, I regret that now. It looks like a really interesting comic, so I can't wait for that to come out in trade. So I'll get that. And then we have, this is by Pantheon Books, MetaMouse by Art Spiegelman. So it says here, looks inside his modern classic mouse. Why the Holocaust? Why mice? Why comics? An essential work about the creative process. Containing a bonus DVD, apparently. Digitized copy of the complete mouse. In-depth archive of audio interviews with his father, photos, notebooks, etc., etc., etc. Boy, if you're a fan of Mouse, this probably is a must-have. Wow. And if you haven't read Mouse, you should. Everybody, every comic lover should read Mouse. Enough said. Let's see. Earlier I said something about, who was I complaining about? Oh yeah, Image doing putting out a trade of Magdalena. Please, please, please do that. Here's another example of that where I again missed out on issue number 1. Moon Girl number 5 is out from Red 5 Comics. I really want that to come out in trade since I missed out on the previous 4 issues. I saw it in, what did I see that in? Free Comic Book Day. Yeah, there was something from Red 5 about that. I really like the way that looked, so I can't wait to read this story in trade form. From Top Shelf Productions, you have, these must be resolicitations, I guess. League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, Volume 3, Century number 1, 1910, and Century number 2, 1969. I got the 1910 version real cheap. I got it for $1. No, I guess it was $3. Anyway, I got it real cheap at my comic shop. And I was intrigued when I first saw 1969 being solicited, so I may have to pick that up. Although it's $9.99 or $9.95 for 80 pages. Maybe I'll wait for my comic shop to have extra copies and they'll sell them cheaply to me. How about that? Alright, in the books and magazines section, first thing I see here is Wayne of Gotham, a novel by Tracy Hickman. Best-selling novelist Tracy Hickman chronicles an untold tale of Batman in this novel written in a hard-boiled film noir style. I may have to pick that up. Oh, and then right next to it, I hesitate to say this word because I want this to be a clean podcast, but Bug F, The Worthless Wit and Wisdom of Harlan Ellison. It's a hardcover. The wisdom of legendary author Harlan Ellison is collected in this unique and humorous compendium. The guy's a great writer, but man, I can't stand his personality. Let's see here. So we have the Classic Marvel Figurine Collection magazine, this time featuring both version of Marvel's Captain Marvel. I'm not really a big fan of these the figurines, although I did buy the Dove figurine. I'm waiting for that to be shipped to me. But just to see the 2 Captain Marvels is kind of neat. Right above that on page 341 is Alter Ego number 105, looking at the career of Dick Giordano through the 1960s, through his time at DC, etc., etc. If you like Dick Giordano's work, yeah, this looks like a must-have. Ooh, and if you missed out on last year's 75 Years of DC Comics hardcover, that 600-page, if you drop it on your foot, it will break your foot tome. They're resoliciting that, $200 if you can find it cheaper elsewhere, as my wife did as a Christmas present for me last year. I suggest you do so. It's freaking huge. I have to hold that sucker in both my arms if I'm holding it up. Otherwise, I have to put it on the table because it's so massive. Here we are, page 359, with the graffiti designs section. I mention this because it's got some comic book legal defense fund t-shirts, supporter t-shirts. One is an Uncle Sam t-shirt and one is a Grendel. Let's see, the Uncle Sam one is featuring the art of John Cassaday, and of course Matt Wagner doing Grendel. And you can also pick up, since the CBLDF I think recently acquired the rights to the Comics Code Authority logo, so they're now you can get a t-shirt with that on there, and that is really cool. I may pick one of those up. The next page, is it still graffiti? I'm not sure. Anyway, page 361, I only mention this, again, I'm going to pick on my daughter a little bit. There's the Harry Potter Hermione Granger Gryffindor t-shirt. She was huge into the Harry Potter, unlike her old man, who could not stand it. So it'd be kind of cool to get that for. Oh, here's a T-shirt for me though, featuring the Starship Enterprise diagram T-shirt. That looks cool. Can't help that. I love Star Trek. In the toys, statues, and models area, page 372, you get the Family Guy action figure set along with the play set. I would never buy that, but I just love the idea that it's out there. And speaking of things that I would probably never buy, but I just like the idea because I love dragons. Here's it says Dark Dragon Child 12-inch plush. So you get a green dragon, which is earth, and a red dragon, which is fire. $30 though. Wow. I like dragons, but not that much. Ooh, and then here we go in the what's called the horror section. Living Dead Dolls 13th Anniversary Series. Those are creepy ass dolls. Ugh. Blah. But they're cool looking. And here we're on page 388. This is awesome looking. This is the Thor 1/4 scale statue. This has nothing to do with Marvel's Thor. It's just a statue based on, the mythological Thor, and it looks kick ass. I mean, there's some design elements that remind you of Marvel's Thor, but wow. Again, I don't particularly go for the models and statues and stuff, but this looks really, really cool. You should, if you have previews and haven't looked at this, you should really take a look at this. That just looks nice. Oh, look, on page 393, here's an actual Marvel Thor statue, which does not look as cool. Okay, that looks to be about it for this October issue of previews. Be sure to let me know if there's anything that I did not point out that you think I should be looking at or anybody else should be looking at. If there's something that I talked up that you think is just crazy and I shouldn't be telling you guys about these things, please let me know. I'd love to hear from you. You can always email me at longboxreview@gmail.com, and you can also find me on Twitter at longboxreview as well as Facebook. Don't forget to visit the blog and leave comments there, longboxreview.wordpress.com. Love to hear from you. Thanks for listening.